As I sat with this text this week, I was struck by how unusual everything in this passage seems to be from start to finish. We start off with the Pharisees coming to Jesus to help him. Get away from here, they say, for Herod wants to kill you. That doesn't really fit the image of the Pharisees that Luke gives us throughout the gospel, where we see the Pharisees opposing Jesus time and time again. But here, for whatever reason, they seem to want to warn Jesus that Herod is getting fed up with what Jesus is doing. Now, Herod was indeed a dangerous man. He had already had John the Baptist beheaded, and Jesus knew that Herod had the power to kill him too. So common sense would tell Jesus to do what George Clooney did in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? This was Jesus' time to, as Clooney spelled out in the movie, R-U-N-N-O-F-T, run off. This was Jesus' time to run off. Jesus could have stopped everything right here. Jesus could have gone back home to Nazareth and taken up an honest living of being a carpenter. Jesus could have taken the Pharisees at their word, stayed a few months with some friends hiding out somewhere around Galilee. Jesus could have given Herod some time to cool off. We claim that Jesus was fully human, and as a human being, I wonder if Jesus was fearful about what could come next for him. Yesterday, we gathered in this space to honor the life and legacy of Dr. Glenn Henson, a beloved member of this congregation and a gifted scholar at Southern Seminary and institutions across the country. Lloyd Allen shared as part of his words yesterday the story of a sleepless night that Dr. Henson had back on August the 21st, 1980, when he found himself sitting in a rocking chair at 2 o'clock in the morning. Bailey Smith, who was then the president of the Southern Baptist Convention, had said at a political rally that God does not hear the prayers of a Jew. Some Jewish leaders had called up Dr. Henson and asked him if he would respond, and he did. He wrote a letter with 3 points. Sounds like a kind of Baptist. 1, if God doesn't hear the prayer of Jews, then the leading figures of the Bible from Abraham to Jesus had no access to God. 2, Baptists historically were champions for religious liberty, not just for ourselves, but for everyone. And 3, statements such as this one Dr. Henson wrote are the stuff from which holocausts come. He knew that was the line that would get everyone's attention, which is why he found himself wide awake at 2 o'clock in the morning, rocking back and forth, asking God if he really had to send that letter. In his autobiography, Miracle of Grace, Dr. Hinson says that in the middle of the night, God spoke to him and said, "Yes, damn it, Glenn, hang in there." Two o'clock in the morning would have been as good a time as any to throw that letter in the trash. In Luke, it would have been as good a time as any for Jesus to have avoided annoying Herod anymore. He was a powerful man. But Jesus let go of what could have been in his life. Letting go of what could have been may be one of the hardest tasks we're confronted with in our lives. All of us carry memories of unmet expectation, dreams that we once had that were deferred permanently, steps that we could have taken to be a better son or daughter, spouse or partner, coworker or friend. We all grieve what could have been in our lives. In her book, Tiny, Beautiful Things, Cheryl Strayed writes, "I'll never know, and neither will you, of the life we didn't live. We'll only know that whatever life that was, it was important and beautiful and not ours. It was the ghost ship that didn't carry us." You can hear that longing in Jesus' voice when he grieves over the city of Jerusalem. "How often I have desired to gather you," Jesus says. He laments for what could have been, and yet in his lament, he holds out hope. Annie read this passage exactly how it needed to be read. For a long time, I read verse 35 a different way than you read it, Annie. Verse 35 says, "You will not see me until the time comes when you say, 'Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord.'" Now, you can read that as an interrogation, as a finger-wagging moment from Jesus. But I don't think that's the tone Jesus was using. This was not a message of doom. Jesus was not defying Herod only to condemn Jerusalem. This wasn't a "bless their hearts, they are up a creek" phrase from Jesus. Listen to what Jesus said. "You will not see me until the day comes when you say." Jesus did not come to condemn, Jesus came to save. And even as he grieves and laments over the city of Jerusalem, Jesus is holding out hope that the day will come when those who do not wish to be gathered in will have their hearts of stone softened. I believe that's a word for our time, church. I believe that Jesus is saying that even in these 40 days, we can hold out hope that those in Jerusalem, those in Washington, D.C., those in Congress, those in the White House, those in seats of power, the foxes that roam our land, even those people will one day be caught up in the redemption of Jesus. For as Karl Barth once said, the only thing one can ever say about someone who has not yet come to faith is not yet. They have not yet been swallowed in the overwhelming sea of God's love. Not yet. I wonder if we can hear the word for our time and this stubborn hope that Jesus holds out for the children of Jerusalem. Even as we grieve over what could have been in our individual lives, and even as we grieve for what could have been in the life of our congregation, even when we play the role of hen and fox in our own lives on the same day, even when we claim the name of Christ and then run out and live in ways that are counter to the way of Jesus, even when we give in to the mindset, the voices all around us of war and hatred and violence and scarcity and out of control individualism, on those days, in our very worst moments, Jesus Christ looks at us, looks at me, looks at you, looks at the United States of America, looks at Crescent Hill Baptist Church and says one day, the day will come when you too will say, blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. One day. One day the lion will lay down with the lamb. The foxes and hens will fear one another no more. And on that day, unlike today, the not yet will become fully known. Until that day comes, may we let go in this season of Lent. May we let go of what could have been and give ourselves over fully to living the life of Jesus in our world today and tomorrow and every day that God gives us to live in this life. Until that day, when God's harbor becomes our home. Amen.